football fans of YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. This is IMX Sports with another football video. Today I'm going to be talking about my opinion on the top 5 fantasy football sleepers in this season's draft. Now, these are 100% my opinions, and if you disagree with them, then just don't draft these players. But I believe that all of these players, if drafted at their own position or 1 or even 2 rounds higher in some cases, earlier, I think that they will be amazing additions to your team, and I think that a lot of other teams are going to miss out on these amazing opportunities. So if you like this video, please let me know. Comment down below which players you think are sleepers in this draft. And let's get right into the video. So first off, I have Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju has been in the league for a couple of seasons now, and he has been nothing short of spectacular. He's on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and for his first couple of seasons, he was a backup wide receiver to the great Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown is no longer with the Steelers. He's having some interesting times of his own. But Juju is with the Steelers, and Ben Roethlisberger is back for a full season this year. He missed a lot of 2019, or most of 2019, because of injury. But if he is healthy for an entire season and puts up prolific numbers like he did in 2018, Juju can have an amazing season. He can be a top 5 wide receiver. He can put down Antonio Brown statistics. But he's getting picked in the 8th round. I don't understand how people can let Juju slide to 25 to 30 ranking for wide receivers in their draft positions. He is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and if you can get him in the 6th round, which you should be able to according to ESPN statistics, then you should do that as soon as you should get him in the as early as the 5th, maybe even 4th round, depending on who's available. Next, we have Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen has been one of the top wide receivers in the league consistently every single season for the past 3 or 4 years. And he's been doing it alongside Stefon Diggs, who has been taking a lot of the attention away from Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is one of the best receivers in the league, and now he's doing it all by himself. He is the one and only starting wide receiver for the Vikings. Stefon Diggs is out of the picture, and now it's just Thielen, Kirk Cousins, and their backups. And I think that Thielen being ranked at 35, he's being ranked by the NFL for wide receivers in the 10 to 15 range, and he's being picked at rank 35 total. But I think that he is a 2nd round pick, not a 4th round pick. Adam Thielen is going to be putting up top 10 numbers. I can almost guarantee he'll put up top 10 numbers this year for wide receivers, and he's not a 4th round pick. If you can get Adam Thielen in the 3rd round, then go for it, because he's definitely worth it. He's had some amazing catches in his career. These are just my way of displaying all of these receivers' amazing abilities. So next we have Marquise Hollywood Brown. He was a rookie last year on the Baltimore Ravens' dominating offense, and he was a very up and down wide receiver, but he still had incredible statistics. This year, he's ranked number 93 in average draft position. He is going in the 10th round. Hollywood Brown, the player that stunned the world in his first 3 weeks on the Ravens last year, is getting picked in the 10th round behind some of the most mediocre wide receivers in the league. I believe that his rank for wide receivers is 33rd or something around there, and he's definitely not a top 10 wide receiver, but I would put Hollywood Brown in the top 15 for wide receivers in the NFL this season. Picking a fantasy football team this year, and Marquise Brown was available in the 7th round, I would pick him in a heartbeat. Never mind the 10th round. So if you're looking for a stud wide receiver in the 9th, 10th round and you don't really feel like picking a kicker or a defense yet, then Marquise Brown is your guy. He's an amazing flex position or even 3rd or 4th string wide receiver on your bench. Next is DJ Moore. Now, I think that a lot of people might disagree with this one, but this is one of my highest, greatest suggestions for fantasy football players out there. DJ Moore is being picked at the end of the 5th round, early 6th round in these drafts. Last year, he was a top 10 or 15 wide receiver, and the year before, the same. He came on last year towards the end of the season, that is, not as much towards the beginning. But this year, he has Teddy Bridgewater as his main passer, not Kyle Allen. I think that Teddy Bridgewater is going to have an amazing season this year because he had an amazing season with the Saints. And I think that if he has DJ Moore, then DJ Moore can be a top 15 wide receiver or a top 10 wide receiver. I think that putting him at rank 49 is very low. I think that he can be a 3rd round pick, and he could be very good for you as a 3rd round pick. Anyone looking to get a wide receiver in the 5th or 6th round, if DJ Moore is available, pick him immediately. The Panthers haven't had the best record over the last couple of seasons, and I don't expect them to have the best record this year. But fantasy football isn't always about wins. It's literally just about the players and their abilities, and I think that if you can get DJ Moore, then DJ Moore will be an amazing addition to your team. Now I have some honorable mentions here. These are players that I wouldn't put in my top 5 sleepers, but I would put them on a list saying if you can get these people really late in the draft, I would do so. First is Odell. Odell has always been an amazing wide receiver. Last season, he took a step back in Cleveland, but I think that this year, he's going to jump right back up there. He's getting picked in the early 7th round. I think that if you can get Odell in the 6th or 7th round, pick him up immediately. That's my suggestion for him. Devontae Parker had an amazing end of the season last year. He was getting 15 to 20 points per game for the last 5 weeks of the season. I would say that Devontae Parker being picked at the end of the 9th round is horrendously low. If you can get Devontae Parker in the 7th round, I would do so. I would almost put Devontae Parker as better than Odell. Next is AJ Green. AJ Green is a questionable player to be picking up this season because he was injured for all of last year. But again, he is AJ Green. His career is for him, and I think that getting AJ Green at the end of the 10th round is quite the steal. I think that if you can get AJ Green in the 8th or 9th round, I think that that's worth the gamble to see how he's going to do with a new quarterback and really a new wide receiving core that he hasn't really played a lot with. Next is Brandon Cooks, who's getting picked in the middle of the 11th round. He is the starting wide receiver for the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson's starting wide receiver is getting picked in the 11th round. I know that Will Fuller's been there longer than Brandon Cooks, but Brandon Cooks has been with around 5 different teams, and he's played tremendously with all of them. I don't see how you can leave Brandon Cooks to the 11th round. He is a 6th round draft pick, but because of his draft position, leave Brandon Cooks until the 8th round. Get some good solid running backs and wide receivers, and then in the 8th or 9th round, pick up Brandon Cooks because he very well could be available. He'll be an amazing sleeper pick for you, and I would keep Brandon Cooks in your mind the entire time you're drafting. Next is the Giants wide receiving core. So they all had very mediocre seasons last year because they're all fighting for that top spot. We don't know who's going to get the top spot, but between Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, and Golden Tate, if you can get any of those players at a decent spot in your draft, which they're looking like they're going in the 13th, 14th, and 15th round, then I would get them in the 13th, 14th, or 15th round because chances are one of them is going to be a top 15 wide receiver, top 20 wide receivers. I think that if you can get any of these players in the 13th, 14th, or 15th round, pick them up immediately. And last but not least, we have Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown has been an oddity in the last season, season and a half, to say the least. He couldn't come up with a deal with the Steelers. He left to go to the Raiders, left the Raiders before playing a game, came to New England, was there for one game, ended up getting cut, now is trying to find a new team, says he's trying to retire at the same time. It's very confusing. But if you can pick him up in the 14th or 15th round, I would do so. Because he may be very confused right now, but if he gets on a team and plays 16 games and has Antonio Brown-like stats, then that's going to be your best pick of the draft. Getting Antonio Brown in the 14th round is the best pick of the draft. That's not even a question. So if you can get him that late, then he's an amazing sleeper. The reason why he's not my number one choice or not in the list for sleepers is because he's such a question mark. And I can't suggest people pick him up at any point unless I know for sure that he's going to be on a team. But if you're drafting before he's on a team yet, then pick him up in the 14th round, because if he ends up on a team, you're going to be in a very good shape. Finally, I have Julian Edelman. Now, I know that this might be a little bit biased because I'm a Patriots fan, but Julian Edelman is my top sleeper for the 2020 season. Now, a lot of people think that Julian Edelman is underrated or overrated. And some people think that he's rated, that people think that he's right where he belongs. I think that he's very underrated. Edelman, since 2015, has put up some of the best stats for wide receivers in the NFL. But he's been riddled with injuries and other issues. In 2015, he played 9 games. But in those 9 games, he averaged 20 points per game, which would have been a top 5 wide receiver in the league for fantasy football that year. Since 2015, he has had 2 more seasons that would have been top 10 wide receiver seasons. 2016 was a slight regression from 2015. 2017, he was injured the whole year. 2018, he would have been a top 10 receiver had he not been suspended for 4 games, because because having played 16 games, his average that year would have been number 9 or number 8. And last season, he put up the 7th most points in the league for wide receivers. His average draft position this year is 97. He's being picked at the end of the 10th round. And he's a top 10 or 15 wide receiver. I would put him top 10. He's been a top 10 wide receiver for the past 5 seasons had he not been injured. And this year, the NFL drafters have been picking him as the 35th best wide receiver. I think that Edelman is a round 5 or round 6 pick, not a round 10 pick. If you can get Edelman in the 5th round, then that's your decision. You can pick him up in the 5th round, and he will be a very good 5th round pick. If he's available in the 7th round, I would say the 7th round is when you say, Edelman, you are mine, because nobody else can see your abilities. He has had one of the most prolific playoff experiences of any wide receiver in NFL history. In 13 games between 2013 and 2019, in his 13 playoff games, he had 1,400 yards in 13 playoff games. He had 106 receptions in 13 playoff games. He only had 3 touchdowns, but that's because the Patriots share the ball a lot. And I think that one of Edelman's issues is that either he gets yards or he gets touchdowns. In one season, he never gets both. But I think that with Cam Newton at the helm, not knowing the team very well, not having playoff games, he's going to be relying on Edelman. Edelman is going to be one of the Patriots' top receivers this season. Or, no, he will be the top receiver for the Patriots this season. And I think that he can easily be a top 10, possibly top 5 wide receiver in the league with Cam Newton as the new quarterback for the Patriots. So these are my predictions for who the top NFL sleepers are going to be this season. Sorry, I haven't been flipping through these. This is of course Super Bowl 51 catch that will go down in history. So if you like this video, let me know. comment who you think are the best wide receiver sleepers for 2020 in the comments below. Let other people know. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Again, I'm going to be putting out a video just about every week about sleepers for fantasy football, as well as predicting every single game in the NFL season, all 256 games. So if you're interested in seeing more football content like this, then subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all